Hi all, welcome to part 2 on the series of videos I am making explaining how to use the Admiralty notices to mariners. If you saw part 1, that's fantastic. In part 1 I explained the basic structure of the notices to mariners, and the link to that video is in the description section below. In today's video I will take up an explanation on the explanatory notes of a publications list, which is section 1 of the Admiralty notices to mariners. And I'll talk about what is there in each of the sections and how do we use it to correct the charts and publications. So we begin the section on explanatory notes publication list by stating that or highlighting that these weekly notices to mariners are dated for the Thursday appropriate to the week that the printed version is dispatched from the UK Hydrographic Office. Now, if you don't know what that means that the paper version of the notices to mariners is issued every Thursday of the week. So you can see here 21st of November 2019 was when this weekly edition of the notice to mariners was issued, and that is a Thursday if you see the calendar year. Now, of course, on the website of the UK Hydrographic Office, where UK of course stands for United Kingdom, these notices to mariners are available earlier. So it is actually available 10 days earlier on the website, and this is also highlighted right below the date, where you can see that the weekly edition to the notice to mariner in this case on the Admiralty website was published on 11th of November 2019, whereas the paper version was issued on 21st of November, which is 10 days later. Now we move to section 1 of the explanatory notes, which talks about the publication list. Now at the very beginning of the publication list is an index of Admiralty charts that are affected by the publication list. Now you can see the list of charts, or the Admiralty charts, or an index of the Admiralty charts is shown on your screen, and this is what it looks like. So therefore there are a number of standard lists which contains details and announcements concerning charts and publications relevant for the particular weekly notice. So you can see here are the charts listed which have undergone certain changes, and I'll show you the changes in my next slide as to what changes we're talking about. So the Admiralty chart number and a corresponding international chart number is provided for the charts that have undergone certain changes, and that announcement is carried out in the weekly notice to mariner. Now I'll show you in the next slide what do I mean by the changes. So you can see here the two changes are shown here. On your left side you can see that the new editions of the charts and publications that have been issued are listed on your left side. So a list of those charts are provided. These are the same charts that were listed in the previous slide that you saw was an index of Admiralty charts affected. And on your right side of the screen you can see that there are some of the charts which are required to be published on the week of 5th of December. So an announcement regarding new charts which are going to be published in the near future. So because this mariners notice to mariners was issued on 21st of November 2019, some of the charts are going to be published on 5th of December 2019, and a notice regarding that chart number, the area that it affects, the scale of the chart, all that is also announced, and it is also announced as to which is the chart that will be withdrawn and replaced by the new chart which will be published. The publication list also comprises of the details of charts and publications which are permanently withdrawn and will not be replaced, that you can see on the left side of your screen. So you can see the chart to be withdrawn, the list of the charts to be withdrawn are provided, and on your right side of the screen you can see that the list of the charts which will be withdrawn without replacement, without any other chart replacing it, is also provided in the notice to mariners. So the chart number and the title of the chart, so that is basically the geographic area or the sea area that it covers, and the date of withdrawal or the date of publication of the new chart or new edition is also provided in the notice to mariners. So naturally, when you go through that list of charts, it allows you to determine whether you need to order the new edition of charts or not, or if you have these charts, whether you need to withdraw these charts from use, because some of these charts have been withdrawn from use. That means they are no longer applicable for use. So you may have to update your chart folio. You may have to get rid of some of the charts, or you may have to order the new edition of the charts if you are carrying these charts on board. The next section of the explanatory notices to mariners discusses the temporary and preliminary notices, which is also known as T and P notices, and section 1B talks about current nautical publications. Now I'll show you what section 1A looks like and what it all contains about. But section 1B is something that I'll talk about in this slide itself, because when we say it provides details on current nautical publications, it basically provides information about publications which includes the current edition numbers of the publications. And this is included in the weekly notice to mariner at the end of every quarter of the year. That means at the end of every 3 months, that is March, June, September and December. So because this notice was issued in November or end of November, I cannot show you an example of that, but every 3 months in section 1B, the latest or the current edition number of the nautical publications is also included in the weekly notice to mariners. However, I'll show you what I mean by section 1A and how the temporary and preliminary notices, that is the TNP notices, are shown in the notices to mariners. So if you see here, and I'll highlight some of this, that when the notice number and the chart being affected by it is provided in the notice to mariners, you can see some of these notice numbers. So look at the extreme left side of your screen. You can see that some of these notice numbers are preceded, or not preceded rather, are superseded, or they are followed by the letter T or the letter P. Now these letter T and P, which are indicated after the notice numbers, are basically indicating that they are temporary and preliminary notices. So they are printed on one side of the paper in order that they may be cut up and filed. So you can see that here the details of this collection is provided in the notice to mariners. So the notice number and the chart it is affecting is on the left side. Then the details of the notice number. So what are the changes that this notice brings? But these are temporary or preliminary notices. So these changes are marked on the chart in pencil and also noted on the chart in pencil at the bottom of the chart below the permanent notices or permanent changes, because these are temporary in place. So it could be like laying of a submarine cable which may be being laid, or an firing exercise which is being carried out or something like that, and that is marked in pencil. And the positions, the GPS positions or the geographic positions, the lat and long of the changes to be marked are provided, and you marked it on the chart in pencil, so that tomorrow when this notice is removed or it no longer is applicable, you can erase it from the chart without making a permanent change to the chart. So this is where the details of the T and P notices are provided. And on the extreme right side, you can see that sometimes you can see these extracts of charts are provided as pictures, and they are cut up, and they could be placed either in a file, which is a separate file for TNP notices, or most of the times it is actually attached to the chart in such a way that it can be removed later on. So information from these notices is actually not included on the charts before issue, and charts should be updated in pencil on receipt. Now some of the associated diagrams which are provided actually in the notices to mariners are also reproduced with the block. So you can cut this out and probably stick it on the chart in such a way that it is not permanently imprinted on the chart. You should be able to remove it. So you can maybe use the blue tack or a temporary way of attaching this to the chart to indicate the new changes, but because they are not permanent, they should not become a permanent feature of the chart. They should be able to be removed when required. So you can see here in this case the extract of the chart, the picture that it is provided. At the bottom it also tells you what chart this is provided for. Alright, so these are all for temporary and preliminary notices. Sometimes you can see that a star is also provided after the TNP notice, and that star indicates that that the notice is based on original information. So if you saw some of the notice numbers had a star adjacent to the number of the notice, and that indicated that the notice is based on original information. Now we move on to the section 2, which provides updates to the standard nautical charts. Now if you can see here that section 2 gives instructions for the updating of standard nautical charts and selected thematic charts in the Admiralty series. Now you can see geographical index provided there. So geographical positions refer to the horizontal datum of the current edition of each affected chart, which is stated in the notice alongside the appropriate chart number. Alright, so the chart it is affecting. Positions are normally given in degrees, minutes and decimals of a minute, but it may occasionally quote seconds for convenience when plotting from the graduation of some older style charts. Alright, bearings are true reckoned clockwise from 000 to 359 degrees. Those relating to lights are from the seaward. Any symbols that are used can be consulted from the nautical publication 5011 that provides you with chart symbols. Depths and heights are given in meters or fathoms or feet as appropriate for the chart being updated. Alright, sometimes blocks and notes are also accompanied, and that is also provided towards the ends of the notice to mariners. So blocks are again examples of chart extracts. You cut them out and you paste it on the chart. If it's a permanent notice, you can permanently put it on the chart. If it's a TNP notice, then you put it in such a way that it can be removed if required at the end. So you can see here, this is what I was talking about. You can see the notice number is provided. So is the chart that it is affecting, and the page number in the notice to mariners where you can find these notices is also provided. So there are 3 columns. You can see the notice number, and in this you can again see there's a star next to a notice number. You can see here this notice number, it has a star alongside it. This star basically indicates that the notice is based on original information. Then the middle column tells you about the page number of the notice to mariners where you can find details of this notice number. So this is just the correction number, the notice number, and the details of this notice number are provided on the relevant page of the notice to mariners. And then of course the chart folio which it affects is all in the 3rd column. Section 3 provides updates to navigational warnings. So this is only updating nav area 1 navigational warnings in force at the specified time, which are quoted in the header, and this is reprinted in section 3 of notice to mariner. And you can see that here. Okay, I've changed the slide, sorry. So you can see that they are normally, it is recommended that those should be kept in a file or in the book, followed by a subsequent weekly reprints. So only the most convenient Admiralty chart is quoted. The full text of all warnings in force is included in weeks 1, 13, 26 and 39 each year. Section 4 provides updates to all sailing directions, and those in force at the end of the year are reprinted in the nautical publication 247-2, which talks about annual summary of Admiralty notices to mariners. A list of updates in force is published in section 4 of the weekly edition, which is quarterly. So again, every quarterly the list of updates in force are published in the notice to mariners. Now full details of how to keep sailing directions up to date can also be found in the nautical publication 294, which is how to keep your Admiralty products up to date. In this, you can see the sailing direction number of the relevant publication and the changes that are introduced are provided. So you should go into the relevant sailing direction and make the changes which is listed right under the sailing direction. So you can see here, this is sailing direction or nautical publication 2, the Africa pilot volume, and next to it is another sailing direction which is nautical publication 19, which deals with the Baltic pilot volume 2. So the edition number, the publication number, and the correction that it is affecting is provided in the notice to mariner. So all the different nautical publications are or the sailing directions and the different volumes of the sailing directions are listed here, and the changes are also noted. Section 5 deals with the Admiralty list of lights. So update to all the list of lights are given in this section, and they may be published in an earlier edition than the chart updating notice. So the entire entry for each light updated will be printed, including minor changes, and an asterisk will denote which column contains a change. In case of a new light or where a new sequence is added below the main light, an asterisk will appear under all columns. All section 5 entries are intended to be cut out and pasted into the appropriate volume. So you can see here we have NP74, which is nautical publication 74, volume A, edition 2019-20, and you also have NP75 here, which is again volume B, edition 2019-20. So you have the different Admiralty list of lights and fog signals, or the different volumes listed here, and the changes that it needs to be incorporated in these publications are listed right below it. Now it is emphasized that the list of lights is the primary source of information on lights, and that many alterations, especially those of a temporary but operational nature, are promulgated only as update to the list of lights. So light positions should be regarded as approximate and are intended to indicate the relative position of lights only. Charts should be consulted for a more authoritative position. So when a light is affected by a separate chart updating notice, its light list number is always included in the relevant text contained in section 2 of the notice to mariner. So the range of a light is normally the nominal range, except where the responsible authority quotes luminous or geographic range. So these changes are of course included in the publication, but a more relevant or a more recent change may be reflected in the chart first before it reflects in this publication. So if you want to find out the details of a light, it is better to consult the chart because it will have the recent change quicker than the publication. That is what it means. Then section 6 provides the updates to the Admiralty list of radio signals. So again, when a chart updating notice is issued for information that is also included within the radio signals, the appropriate volume reference number is quoted, and this you can see here. You can see volume 1 and the change that it needs to incorporate is provided, and so is volume 2 and the change it needs to incorporate. So again, the updates in section 6 should be cut out and pasted into the appropriate volume. So you can see that the change it shows, and you need to cut it out and paste it in the Admiralty list of radio signal to reflect the change. That will be the proper way of correcting the radio signal. In section 7, it provides updates to the selected but miscellaneous nautical publications. Now, if you're thinking that we have already covered charts and list of lights and radio signals, what other nautical publications are included in this section? So you can see that the list of the nautical publications that are included in the miscellaneous section are provided below. You can see NP 100, NP 133A, NP 133C, and what they stand for or what that publication is all about is provided. The list of the publications that are affected under this list are provided. So if you are carrying these publications on board, which you are most likely doing, and you want to know whether there are any changes that are affected or any changes that you need to incorporate to these publications, section 7 is where you will get the details of those changes. Now in this case, of course, you can see that there were no updates to the nautical publications in the notice to mariner, which was issued in November 2019. So of course there was no change to these publications, but if there are any changes, this is the section in which it will be issued. And then we have section 8, which deals with the Admiralty digital services. So in the Admiralty digital services, of course, I will provide you with more details of this, but you can see that this is regarding the, of course, the electronic navigation charts. So in the electronic navigation charts and for example, the Admiralty digital services that it provides. So any safety notices which are issued with respect to the electronic navigation charts or ECDIS are issued here. If there are any charts or electronic charts which have been temporarily withdrawn is also provided here. If there are any temporary and preliminary notices to mariners, so TNP notices to mariners in electronic charts are issued, again it is provided here. It also provides information regarding the chart correction series services or updating or online updating of charts and the Admiralty products which are supporting the digital navigation, the Admiralty digital publications that are available. So all the details are provided here, and if any changes are noted in this, section 8 is the section which it provides all the details with. Finally, the figure that you see on the right side of your screen basically provides the status of the Admiralty digital services. So basically it provides the Admiralty raster chart service and the issue date, and if they was reissued, the latest version of the products, the Admiralty products, and the details of it are provided in section 8. So these are the information in section 8 that it provides, and this is the these are the 8 sections that are provided by the notices to mariners, and which is important for the mariner to know and for you to become familiarized with. Lastly, there is the information provided is about further guidance. So basically the further guidance refers to NP 294, which is how to keep your Admiralty products up to date, and it also provides a reference to NP 100, which is the Mariner's Handbook, which gives explanations of the limitations of the charts and details of the UK Hydrographic Office policy for the promulgation and selection of navigationally significant information for charts. And the other important information that is provided by the notice to mariners are cautionary notes. So basically updating information is published by weekly notice to mariners, supplemented by navigational warnings for items of immediate importance. So because they basically highlight that the information provided by notices to mariners are based on reports which cannot always be verified before it is sent out, and sometimes it is necessary to be selective and sent out only the important items to avoid overloading the mariners or the users of the products. So then there are laws and regulations which are listed as well. So the laws and regulations of the UK Hydrographic Office, which makes every effort to include in its publications details of the laws and regulations of all countries pertaining to navigation should be understood. Then reliance on charts and associated publications are also discussed, that it should be remembered by the mariner that they cannot fully how should I say, you cannot fully verify the information that is being provided by the charts and publications, although an effort is made. Sometimes that information could be a bit dated, it could be a bit incomplete, so complete reliance should not be made on that information, and you should allow some safety margin, especially if you are passing very close to, say, a navigational danger or a wreck, and you must allow seamanship practices to dictate your judgment and make sure that you make judicious use of the available aids to navigation. All right, charts should be used with caution as well, because there are areas where the source data is old, incomplete, of poor quality, and that's why mariners should use the largest scale chart appropriate for the purpose. and the larger scale chart would show all the details of navigational features which are important for the seafarer. Even if it's electronic navigation charts, you must use the correct scale, because in some scale you may overpopulate with information, it will become all cluttered and you don't know which one to select. And if you select a very small scale chart, then you will lose essential information. So make sure, whether it's paper charts or electronic charts, you always use this scale of the chart, appropriate scale of the chart, which highlights the required navigational features as well as doesn't overclutter your chart or your position on your track, and you can take the ship safely. Finally, reliance to satellite derived positions and chart accuracy is also highlighted. So that would mean that you should not completely rely on positions supplied by the satellite navigation systems, and you should try your best to also find your ship's position using other means, all available means, to ensure that you have verified your ship's position. Now this applies to both paper and digital charts, and again reference is made to the Nautical Publication 100, which is the Mariner's Handbook, to guide you on how to use the charts and publications. So that's it for my side. This is becoming a long video, but I thought I must highlight these important bits and pieces. In my next videos, I'll also show you practically how do we go about making changes, or the corrections, how do we go and make the corrections, and what do we do with those corrections in terms of documentation, and that will be shown in the next video. Thanks guys, and all the best with your studies. Bye for now.